You know the feeling. It's that nagging sense that you know you wrote down something brilliant, some key piece of information. You know it's in a file somewhere, but for the life of you, you just can't find it.
And it all starts with this one simple, incredibly frustrating question. Where did I write that? That's the starting gun for this desperate hunt through, the digital attic of your own work.
So, you give it a shot. You fire up the search bar and you type in the exact phrase you are absolutely sure you used. You remember the meeting, the context, Acme Corp Q3 follow-up action items. This has to be it, right? You hit enter, feeling that little flicker of hope. And crickets. 0 results found. And there's that familiar sinking feeling. Maybe you called it Acme follow-up? Or was it Q3 action plan? See, the problem is you have to remember the exact words to find the idea, and that is a total dead end.
And look, this isn't just some small annoyance. This is a constant hidden tax on your productivity. You're wasting time, you're losing brilliant insights that you've already had, you're repeating work, and maybe worst of all, you're missing these huge strategic connections that are just sitting there, hiding in your own notes.
So here's the big takeaway. The problem isn't that your memory is failing you. The problem is that your search tool is failing your memory. See, traditional search, it's built to find exact words, not to help you rediscover complex ideas.
And that brings us to a fundamentally different way of thinking about this. It's called semantic search, and it operates on a whole other level. It doesn't just match letters and words on a page, it actually understands the meaning, the concepts, the whole idea behind what you're looking for. It's a search for ideas.
Okay, so here's where you can really see the difference. If you search for budget planning with a keyword search, well, you're only going to get files with those 2 exact words. But a semantic search, it knows you're talking about the concept of managing money. So it finds files about financial forecasting, quarterly reviews, resource allocation, even if the words budget planning are nowhere in them. It's a total game changer.
And it really all comes down to this powerful promise. It helps you find those incredibly valuable insights you completely forgot you even had. It's less like a file finder, and honestly, more like an archaeologist for your own intelligence.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, it's a process called enhanced indexing. What it does is, in the background, it securely creates this kind of conceptual map of all your files, which makes your entire body of work searchable not just by word, but by meaning. And the best part is just how unbelievably simple it is to get going. It's just a one-time toggle in your settings, you flip the switch, it does its thing securely in the background, and boom, your entire workspace is now a searchable library of your own ideas. All right, so now that we know what it is and how it works, let's get to the really good stuff. We're going to look at 3 powerful forms of what we're calling intelligence archaeology. 3 ways you can uncover the buried treasure that's already in your files. So, treasure number 1 is insight recovery. This is all about rediscovering those golden threads of your own thinking that are probably scattered across tons of different documents and across time. What insight recovery does is it connects all those scattered pieces, the random notes, the early drafts, the meeting transcripts, and it weaves them together into one coherent story. It lets you actually trace how your thinking on a single topic has evolved over months or even years. For example, imagine you search for something like customer feedback on our new UI. Instead of just getting a jumbled list of files, you get a synthesized timeline of user sentiment pulled from 6 months of meeting notes and emails and project updates. You get to see the entire story of how your users felt, right from launch day until today. Okay, on to our second treasure. And this one is a massive time saver. Forgotten work discovery. This is all about finding valuable, completed work from your past that is directly relevant to what you're trying to do right now. I mean, the whole point here is to stop reinventing the wheel. How many times have you started a new project only to realize halfway through that you already did like 80% of this thinking last year? This feature brings that past work right to the surface so you don't have to do it all over again.
Let's make that super concrete. Say you're tasked with creating a new partner onboarding strategy. A quick semantic search uncovers a detailed proposal you wrote for a totally different partner last year, and it's almost perfect. You literally just saved yourself hours, maybe even days of work. Okay, this is the most advanced and, frankly, the most exciting treasure of them all, cross-document pattern finding. This is where we go from finding things you knew you had to discovering things you never even knew at all.
pattern finding sifts through dozens, maybe hundreds of different documents to find these subtle connections and recurring themes that would be completely impossible for a person to spot on their own. It turns all these scattered little data points into a high-level, actionable piece of intelligence.
And this is where it gets really, really powerful. Imagine you search for the concept of implementation concerns across all your project files, proposals, notes, emails, everything. The search reveals a hidden pattern. The phrase timeline anxiety shows up way more often in deals that end up failing. You've just discovered a key risk predictor for your entire sales process. That's an insight you never would have found otherwise.
So what we're really talking about here is a complete mental shift. The old way was all about file retrieval. You had to know what you were looking for to have any chance of finding it. But this new way, this is intelligence archaeology. You don't search for a document, you explore a concept. You don't just find what you knew you had, you learn what you didn't know you knew.
And that really brings us to the final question. What if the most valuable, game-changing insight for your work right now is something you've already written down? The only question is, will your tools actually help you find it?